Saints, how you doing? I don't want to hold you up too long. I just want to holler at you for just a second about the world that we're living in right now, the change, the paradigm shift. That's what it is. It's the only way to call it. You know, paradigm, by definition, is the way things are, the standard, or the way things are done and the way things are. And the way things have always been. Now, that could be good or bad. Paradigms are usually dealing with business or science or academia, but you can use a paradigm in anything really in life. I mean, even in religion, or especially, honestly, in religion, when you get born again, that's a paradigm shift. Because the old things are passed away, behold, all things have become new. So you're a new creature, you're doing new things. The old things you don't want to do anymore. So that's what a paradigm is. But when it's a shift in paradigm, now that old stuff has become something new. And that's what's going on in this country right now. There's a paradigm shift. In case, I mean, we all know about it, or we all seeing it, and we're all feeling the effects of it if we're just looking at it and watching it, but not maybe really understanding what it is. It's just a paradigm shift. We're in a whole nother universe, it seems like. You know, I was looking at some old photos, and they have a bunch of stuff about Juneteenth and all that kind of stuff, and that's a whole nother conversation, what Juneteenth really is, and is this really the end of the official end of slavery and all that kind of stuff. But I saw a lot of pictures about, and just ran across them about lynching. And there's a whole history of lynching in this country that most people, black and white, know absolutely nothing about ever since. And it does go back. The wounds of this country go back to the Civil War and after the Civil War. That people were being lynched. Just random lynching. And if you look it up, just Google lynching black Americans and just see what comes up. And you get pictures of just a lot of situations where down through the years people were lynched. And you'll see pictures of it. And when you watch the pictures of it and you look at the pictures, look at the people in the background. Many times people were lynched in the county courthouse. They were lynched right in the courthouse square, right in front of the courthouse, because many times law enforcement was involved in it. So they didn't have a problem with somebody being lynched. And other times you had 500 to 1,000 people storm a courthouse and get a suspect now. This person is a suspect. Most of these people never went to trial. They were accused. And you have a mob show up, a lynch mob. And they show up, overwhelm the deputies or whoever there, or the deputies just open the door and let them in because they were complicit in it also. And the people went in and grabbed them, brought them out, beat them, lynched them. Sometimes they set their body on fire. Sometimes they take souvenirs, ears, fingers, that kind of stuff, genitals. It's brutal. It's brutal. And this is a history that I guarantee you most people don't really know anything about. It's not being taught in schools anymore, really. And that's always been a hidden secret in America. Sometimes it was a result of some kind of race war that went on, and there were a lot of racial conflicts in American history. A lot of stuff that we just don't know about. Some of this stuff is just, people are ashamed to talk about it, but it's American history. And so many of these people would get up in the morning, the day of the lynching, they make a picnic basket, they go to church, and they leave church and go to the lynching. Sometimes that's what would happen. And if you look at some of these pictures, you'll see people in the background and they're in the Sunday best. The reason is they just came from church. Sometimes the pastor was in the crowd. Now, there were people who didn't want it to happen, but they're not going to stand up too much, or they might draw the ire of the crowd themselves. Maybe not be lynched, but certainly be beaten. And what is one or two people going to do against 500 in a lynch mob? So these Christians came from church and lynched people. It didn't always happen like that, but a lot of times it did. Now, as I watched this situation down in Georgia with this police officer who killed Rayshon Brooks, if you really want to be honest, if they let this guy out right now, and say, for instance, he walked into just out in public and people saw him and knew who he was, they lynch him. They beat him to death. They kill him the same way that lynch mob was killing blacks back in the 20s and 30s and 40s and before, ever since Reconstruction. They would kill him. He hasn't gone to trial yet. The paradigm, you see, has shifted. Those same people standing up, black people standing up and saying, hey, we want justice, would not give this man justice. They think because they had what happened on film that they're justified. But I guarantee you, with the vitriol that I'm seeing now, they would kill him. They would lynch him the same way black people were lynched. And they justified. The same way they're beating people now and justified. The same way these so-called black leaders have justified burning down stuff, have justified killing people by saying, oh, this is just black rage. This is 400 years of black rage. Because it's shifted. We live in a different, alternate universe where wrong is no longer wrong. Right is no longer right. Now, wrong is right, and right is the cumulative effects of the cumulative sum of your emotions, your feelings. That's what's right now. Whatever you feel like doing at the moment, that's right. So do I think they would lynch this man? Absolutely. Lynch mob is a lynch mob, and it's fueled by not justice. It's fueled by hate. If you look at what the mayor of Atlanta's doing, and I said this in my last video, she should be ashamed of herself. She's positioning herself to be Joe Biden's running mate. All these people are going along with what the mob wants. The mob is making demands. Black Lives Matter, painting Black Lives Matter all over the street in cities all over the world and all over the country, and everybody's letting them do it. Like they're afraid to stand up. Not everybody believes in what they stand for. And their political organization, by the way, who don't give a crap about black lives. Because by far, the majority of black lives, thousands of black lives are lost in this country every day at the hands of black people. Not to mention abortion. We ain't even talking about that. That's thousands and thousands of black people are killing other black people. I don't see no Black Lives Matter caring about that. They're acting like all of this change needs to come about in the police department and its institutional racism. And they have no idea what all civil rights was about in the first place. They have no clue. But that's them. That's what they're doing. And also, while I'm talking about Black Lives Matter, it might not be this election, but certainly any Democratic candidate, Joe Biden, and whoever he picks is going to bow down to Black Lives Matter. And in the next election, Black Lives Matter is going to have a candidate run under Black Lives Matter. They're going to be saying, I'm a member, I belong to Black Lives Matter. I believe in Black Lives Matter. And they're going to run for president. I don't know who it is, but I guarantee you that's going to happen after this next election, in the next election, 2024. But to get back to my point, a lynch mob's a lynch mob. Doesn't matter. What I find interesting is how people are just selling out. They're afraid. And the media's involved in it also. Because 2 days ago, I'm watching CBS Evening News, and this lady, Nora O'Donnell, she's narrating what happened to Rayshon Brooks. And all she's talking about is what she thinks the police officer did wrong. Nothing that he did wrong when he brought this whole situation on himself by the choices that he made. And anybody with half a brain knows if you take a police officer's taser, they're going to shoot you. If you fire it at them, they definitely going to shoot. Anybody knows that. But this dude, he's dead because of the choices he made. Nobody says that. Nobody wants to say that. It's unfortunate that he's dead. He got a wife and kids. His butt should have been home with them. If you really want to know, not out drinking. But don't nobody want to talk about responsibility and accountability. I already talked about that, but don't nobody want to talk about it, really. Let's be honest. Let's be stand up. Let's keep it 100. You going to keep it 100? Let's keep it 100. That's really what's going on. That's really what happened. And it's unfortunate, it's sad. But the dude lost his life